Welcome to UR-VolK. I hope you understand the way I speak. I'm learning little by little to communicate better with the English speakers or the Anglosphere. First of all, I apologize for taking so long to make this program, but I had a lot of complications. This is dedicated to my comrades in Canada, Europe, and the United States. We don't go too much into the history of heavy metal, because nowadays there is a lot of access to this information, and this program will get too long. Besides, there are enough nerds in the internet who are repeating data that we can all find. What we can say is that heavy metal, in its beginnings, was not a social experiment, as other currents were, like Cubism, for example, which was created and financed by Jews to degenerate man and dominate him in the long run. Heavy metal is a positive collateral damage of rock and roll, a manifestation that was given at the time as something that emerged in a purified form, at least in the beginning. Then, of course, it was packaged and mass distributed, although it always retained and to this day retains a cult status. Today we will see what we can rescue at the metaphysical and social level of this modern cultural movement, understanding as modern era, and roughly speaking, from the break that meant the French Revolution until this time, an era of dissolution and materialism. Heavy metal was a modern reaction to the war, a manifestation of mythical thinking and epic narrative in music, in the youth currents of that time, whose vestiges still linger in some of us. We still continue to musicalize our lives with this distorted heavy and masculine music. This genre has influenced with its narrative to other genres such as black metal. That is to say, it has endowed the rest of the genres with mysticism or a mythic vision, with the exception of certain genres within metal that carried the nihilistic charge of hardcore punk, for example. From its origins with projects like Uriah Heep, Judas Priest, Rainbow, and especially Ronnie James Dio, who read a lot, and many others. The metal genre, or what later became known as the new wave of British heavy metal, was positioning itself as a mythological universe and a social movement, an escape route where young people transited their existence in a world alien to the spirit. It was not a mass movement, because mass is number, without organization. It was a sort of more or less organized urban tribe. The new wave of British heavy metal was a small creative movement of young people who created their own mythical universe, with the poetry of lyrics, riffs, distortion, and album covers, along with a cult of followers uniformed with leather and studs. At that time in society, it was common to see heroic fantasy works as much as in movies, books, comics, etc. At that time in society, it was common to see heroic fantasy works as much as in movies, books, comics, etc. And from all this, the young people who began to create this style and to encourage from certain bands like Judas Priest or Rainbow to deploy this epic imagery of heroes of sword and sorcery were nourished. At that time in history, where wars no longer had the meaning of yesteryear, the whole land no longer meant anything. The whole world devoid of true meaning and replaced by a profound vision. It was even more accentuated in a world already globally dominated by the liberalism of the Anglosphere parasite by the Jewish. Young people sought strength and a sense of self in fantasy from Dungeons and Dragons, Tolkien, Robert E. Howard's Conan and Fantasy, and post-apocalyptic comic magazines such as Metal Hurlant, also called heavy metal. Young people from 13 to 25 years old filled their lives and their dungeons with those epic covers of battles, speed, adventures, castles, war, demons, mysteries, turmoil, aggression, and violence. These things that the bourgeois demoliberal society was beginning to censor more and more, so that societies will not rebel against the Judaic financial tyrannies that demolished the primordial values of men. Heavy metal was a way to travel to a world of meaning, a mythical and timeless world of archetypes and legendary characters. Even if they were not able to technically explain these inner processes, these young people were guided by this quest for heroic epic. Now we will listen to Judas Priest from my favorite era of the band, from the time when they sounded like Marinetti's futurist manifesto. manifesto precursor of Italian fascism. We want to sing the love of danger, the habit of energy and recklessness. Courage, audacity, and rebelliousness will be essential elements of our poetry. Our paintings and art will highlight the aggressive movement, the feverish insomnia, the run, the somersault, the slap and the punch. We will affirm that the splendor of the world has been enriched with a new beauty, the beauty of speed. We wish to praise the man who holds the steering wheel, whose ideal spear traverses the earth, itself launched by the circuit of its orbit. It is necessary for the poet to lavish himself with ardor, Fausto, and splendor to increase the enthusiastic fervor of the primordial elements. There is no beauty except in struggle. No work of art without an aggressive character can be considered a masterpiece.
Wait, engines taken over. Hear the roar as they sense the fear. Wheels, through the steel and a flash of light. Screams from a streak of fire as he strikes. Hell-bent for leather. Hell-bent for leather. Black as night, faster than a shadow. Comes the flare from a raging sun. An exhibition, ship position, yet no one knows from where he comes. Fools, self-destruct cannot take the crown. Dreams crash one by one to the ground. Hell-bent for leather. Hell-bent for leather. There's many who tried to prove that they're faster, but they didn't last them. They died as they tried. He who tried to prove that they're faster, but they didn't last them. They died as they tried. Hell-bent for leather. Hell-bent for leather. Hell-bent for leather. Hell-bent for leather.
people survived thanks to the mythical thinking. The need for escapism into the fantasy world is typical of this Iron Age and that era of finance, effeminate office workers, industrialization and technification, where the dissociated and broken man sought to be somebody in the face of the bitterness of the world that presented him with no viable options. This was before today's technocratic era, where the masses are already directly zombified. They do not connect one thought to the next. The youth of that time sought to fulfill a transcendent role, even if only in the imaginary, and they were not even aware of this. Inner forces drove them to throw themselves into these desolate wastelands outside of society or the mainstream, and they became soldiers and devotees to the cause of heavy metal, so to speak. Now we will listen Heavy Load, Might for Right, and then Venom with Warhead. How the system uses myths to control us. Now we will deal with a more profane and negative definition of what myth is, and what the enemy has made use of. This definition by Jacques de Maillet is very useful to explain how people are socially engineered to manipulate them through propaganda. That is to say, society is deceived with images that evoke things they know, but the meaning and concepts are distorted in the factical powers use them to enslave the masses. Jacques de Maillet was an ideologist of Peronism, a national revolutionary born in France who fought in the Carlemagne division. When he came to Argentina thanks to Perón, he devoted himself to spread nationalism and funded several Peronist organizations and urban militias. He wrote many books on anthropology, metaphysics, politics, and along etc. In his Dictionary of Political Science, the definition of myth is the following. Myth is a codification, a dynamic complex of images capable of evoking outside of any rational analysis the motives, procedures, and goals of a social process, together with the necessary stimuli to invoke it. The myth is an instrument of psychological action. It represents in an unitary and simple way a complex doctrine. The minds accept them intuitively. Now, let's talk in symbolic terms about Ozzy's funeral. Let's assume that Ozzy Osbourne's farewell recital, or you could say it was a sacrificial ritual, a Hollywood-style party celebrated by all the servants of the Neon God, both in person and via streaming. The whole world watching and the media spreading the information to all corners of the globe. All the energy and money from followers of the supposed hero, people allied to the system, Hollywood stars, tycoons, prostituted rockers, etc. All the servants of Mammon God present, all to the mass of the supposed Prince of Darkness, a Jewish puppet of his wife Sharon Levi, that is, Prince of the anesthetized masses, but a product of his own wife's use and abuse, singing decrepit, anesthetized, medicated, and sick at the altar of his god Moloch, a worldwide farewell sacrifice, where even politicians fired him. People we will never have thought will do it, and I'm sure you also gave them some of your psychic energy from your home, or you helped them by sharing something in the internet. A final sacrifice that raised millions of dollars for the sick children supposedly, or we could say actions for child trafficking. since it is well known by people who really investigate and have knowledge in geopolitics how the trafficking is handled, through giant investments, through foundations. Non-governmental organizations and foundations are platforms of indirect influence, tools of power. We'll make a long story short. Last concert. He dies a few days later. Look for yourselves. We see how through materialistic mythification or counter-myth and with technology you can move the masses to get half the world in a certain mood and in agreement at the same time and absorb that world energy in favor to ritualize. All coordinated and synchronized. This is something that is usually done. It is not a fantasy. Ozzy was always a puppet of the powers that be, and it was his career that was managed by his wife, the Jewish Sharon Levi. When Van Halen was in fashion, he had Randy Rhoads. Then he turned into Motley Crue when they were in fashion. Then when grunge was everywhere, he used Soundgarden producer. When new metal was selling, they created a festival to fit in between all that. And that's how it was his whole career. An empty product like any Hollywood star. Ozzy is a good example of crowd management and of psychological action too. That's why we will now listen to Black Funeral by Merciful Fate. Of the primordial tradition on the myth is that of Julius Evola. According to him, in antiquity myths were regarded not as fanciful tales, but as expressions of fundamental truths and spiritual forces that influence human history. Myths, archetypes, and legends are the starting point to know the reality in a deep way and ourselves, in all dimensions. Young people enter into the fantasy of war and the glory of heavy metal, the heroic myth, the pagan legends, which made them remember the tribes of their own blood. Rather, their intuition led them down those paths and they traveled in the chariot of fire through mythopoetic worlds, because they sought to be someone, to fulfill a role, and to be part of something outside of this system, which represented all the evils that haunted them inside. This loud and epic music was the product of meaninglessness, that is to say, because of the unsequential existence of people and empty art, certain musical manifestations arose that broke with that, scars caused by the break with the transcendent, the way of life imposed by the liberalism. It was a reaction to the common and current narrative of the new mercantilist and Jewish apprentice Western world. Manila Road, Necropolis, and then running wild Genghis Khan.
Through the jungle by the river Styx, I've journeyed long and far this day, lurking shadows in the parapets will never make me turn away. Darkened city veiling crimson mist, entombed in time without decay. Never thought it would be like this. It feels like I'm living inside a dream, but my mind tells me I'm lost in the crowd. Alas, lost in the crowd. Alas, lost in the crowd. Alas, lost in the crowd. Alas. Now I know what it's like to be inside the city of the dead. All I think of is breaking free from all the spells came to my head, sort an X on my destiny. I watch the stars turning blood red. There is light, yes, I've got to believe, for this feels like living inside a dream. I know now that I am lost in the crowd. Alas, lost in the crowd. Alas, lost in the crowd. Alas, lost in the crowd. Alas. I have seen your cities burning. I have felt your daughters yearning for the peace you had before the time.
comfort land from the ban of death. Freedom to the Mongol nation, lying, banning their wrath. Take a stand. Take a stand.
In these times, heavy metal can be a tool to set the mood of existence. Its heroic narrative can be a guide for children, and its illustrations can serve for the scenarios of existence. And if added to the reading of heroic fantasy and martial arts, it can, in the long run, develop men strong and sharp as the steel of a sword. This, I say, is not the theory of a 200 kilos nerd who lives in front of a computer. I have put it to the test with my own blood. Heavy metal is a tool to combat the bombardments of the system on a cultural level, and it is full of symbolism that, when used well, can develop young people both physically and spiritually. Strength, virility, heroism, magic. The fight against the dragon, symbol that is present in our Ur-Heimat, that is homeland of origin. Swords, muscles, death, war, forests, landscapes, mysteries, adventures. Rebellion, that is why we must know that the myths for us are an orientation and must be used for inner development to strengthen ourselves. Thor, only the strong.
Only
metal serves to awaken mythical thinking in man, and to give an atmosphere of fervor to children. As I said before, I have proved it myself. Children who grow up listening to Ronnie James Dio are stronger in general, especially in this day and age where imagery and poetry of that genre stands out the most, because today there is a great contrast between epic heavy metal and today's postmodern fashion. Heavy metal is a sword and sorcery adventure tales, but with a musical narrative. They are epic narratives and poetry set to music, integrated together with art and illustrations in an album that can be a ritual artifact, an object of invocation of forces that nourish the spirit, as poetry can be. Bring back memories of your own blood, memories of ancient gods, of war and the primordial elements. Pagan memories. Seared Angle. I'm alive.
From their thrones and laughed at their
album is a story. The members of Manowar read Robert E. Howard. Thanks to heavy metal, I myself discovered Julius Evola and René Guénon. Thanks to Conan the Barbarian, I discovered heavy metal. It is useful to use it to develop oneself and to design a mythical existence where everything makes transcendent sense. Maybe once you listen to this, you will connect everything. Your mind will be made of steel at that precise moment when you listen to Kill with Power by Manowar and remember your ancestors, activating your atavistic memory. Maybe after listening to this, from now on, heavy metal will be your war music to ride the tiger towards the final destination. Power and glory, your mission and purpose in life will be accompanied by the music of heroes, because the gods made heavy metal.